Yo, okay, there. Sorry. Give me 1 second. For a second, I had to restart the stream. Check Discord where you can. Okay, I'll I'll start working on those in a second. Okay, let's see. Yep, that's working. I hate having to like. Um, Dude, I just want to check the. Like, I just want to pop that out. Okay. Got that open. Second. Okay. Sorry. Write the like. Write the music. Um. Write the music. Just. There. That one. Quick power tools. Okay, let's do that. Music is actually. Okay, playing there. Okay. There. Okay, so I can see that. There. Or is that in the do that. Okay. Huh. Pictures. Ooh, banana. Okay. Gotta like save all these freaking images. There are emojis. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's like a fucking it's gotta be like a fucking default way. Please. Here. God damn it. Yeah, I should be able to fucking do comparing these, all of these. I think that's what I got so far. What I need to do. Come on, give me a second. Okay. Do some drawing, then I'm gonna go put my fucking video game correction. Okay, goddamn, there's like a fucking wall right over there about fucking video games. Hopefully they let me check. Yep. Hey, bye-bye. Okay, so let's see. So I had that one drawing I gotta work on now. Okay, we'll try that fucking again. Yeah, that's unsupported format like fucking ass. You tell me, you gotta put more fucking this shit, come on. There. I know you're back there, Pie. Okay. Yeah, I know you're back there. I know you're back there. No, 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 no. You want attention. This is your attention time. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, let's try this. I haven't drawn a habit too. Right. One. And that was hard, dude. Be easier to do that. Okay, there.
It's time to go. We don't have much time.
Green banana. Okay. Banana too. And it's pretty much just someone asked me to do like all this fucking yeah. Huh. I did. I'm so used to fucking Photoshop where That's good enough. That ain't bad. Like I'm doing like this first. Banana Army. Not sure why some of them are not fucking supported, but yeah, I'm just making all these like just transparent for a friend. Also, need to actually get used to this fucking dude as well. And I want to fuck the race here. got a shirt too. Do we the fucking black mark? Fucking Carl. Give it like the ones I did, like those I just got those stuff. As a Mozart 14. There's gonna be fucking interesting. Actually, this ain't as bad as I was gonna do it, but actually not really that freaking hard to do this. God damn it. I don't give a shit. Guys, not gonna misspell anyways. You bad at freaking fucking do it this way. Like, I know that's a fucking Sonic thing, but I can't think of it. freaking a lot easier to freaking.
Got it down to 0, so I can do this.
We did. I know that's a mouse, but
Pretty much did everyone. It's just right D. That one I got it. That's it. It is the background. Okay.
Yeah. Do, 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 do. Okay, okay. Yes. I don't know, it's just fuck that the face he's making is not even Jimmy. Copy, yeah. Pawn. Gone. Had to actually. Had to fucking refit. Had to fucking recreate, resave some of a different file. Freaking. Oh yeah, that's like a shirt rep. Yeah, forget it. No. Why don't we undo that? What the? Do that. I'll do this. Open those up again. I did not mean. Oh, reopen that. There you go. It's like it moves something, and it's like YouTube starts freaking out. Like Windows starts freaking out. Like, yeah, have a chill pill for a second. I gotta be like careful with this one since I have to actually be careful. I gotta be careful with this one. Where's the fuck? It's not gonna be completely freaking ass perfect, but I just need to do like the cut out that good cab Toronto itself, the idea. So. Thank God I have a fucking tablet. This is actually a lot fucking easier to do with a tablet than. I guess that's a lot fucking easier to do with a tablet. Okay, that was our ship done. Okay, those are all ships done then. should be transparent. Okay, yeah, they should be freaking. Okay, so how the fuck did I do this? Like I made this one transparent. Does it need like a PF file? What? How do that one need to like a file? Okay, yeah, I just leave you a bucket. I just need to make these all files. Pretty much, it said you had to. God, look at that. I just had to fucking resave them all. Everything. Damn it, I just want to fucking open them. Yeah, you fucking Spotify has some weird ass fucking songs and shit like that. fucking you guys. Like how they, it sounds like it's like a fucking remix or beep or fucking. Fucking do this. Save all of them as fucking pings. Let's open this out. I love it when have to, you got like, you did like all this fucking work, and now you got like, oh, I gotta fucking go back and quickly reset, like, resave like all this shit. Should be almost freaking done. Been gymming for about an hour, goddamn. Gotta do this. Okay. I'll put that down there first, like that. Okay. Be happy having a go today. Okay. Apparently I can only upload fucking 10 files at once. Let me do this. Put 10 there. let's see. Got 4 people watching. Right now I'm just sending some stuff to a friend. There. Actually, pictures. I was drawing. I was drawing that like a couple days ago. I just need to go back and actually to continue working on it sometime. That's just me, like, on my drawings. Okay, so, okay. Okay, sounds good. NES, Umbrella, Recall. I'm kind of faint. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like fucking NES card, dude. Okay. Outside this, I got. Well, so give me 1 second. I'll be right back for going over my fucking games. Yay. Why watch YouTube videos as well? I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, not sure what the fuck that is. Sorry, my cat wants cat treats at the moment. Here. And now you want it. Oh no. There. Okay. I don't know why I fucking did that, but I gotta turn that off here. Okay, wait. Good book, has to be fun.
I'll be singing, my Lord, Kumbaya.
No, fuck!
I'll be singing my.
The thing is, like, someone Edgar subscribe to my channel. I'm like being like nice and Edgar. Yeah, because I remember the person actually subscribed to my YouTube. I think it was playing on playing Kingdom Hearts or something. But what the fuck was that? Okay, go.
I'll be singing, my Lord.
I don't know why I'm in fucking. Oh, do this.
This video is brought to you by PIA VPN. Browsing the internet without a VPN is like traveling with a see-through backpack. Everyone can see exactly what you're carrying. Hackers, advertisers, and even your internet provider can track everything you're doing online. That's where PIA VPN comes into play. With PIA VPN, your IP address stays hidden, and your internet connection is fully encrypted, keeping your data safe and your online activity private. Ever tried watching a show or sports only to find a log in your region? PIA VPN gives you full access. With 91 countries and all 50 states to choose from, you can unlock more TV shows and movies no matter where you are. You can even save money on flights and online deals just by changing your virtual location. PIA VPN has a proven no logs policy, audited and tested in court, so your data is never stored or sold. Plus, one subscription lets you protect unlimited devices across Windows, macOS, Android, iOS, and more. Right now, you can go to piavpn.com/BlameOnGeorge to get 83% off. Bring your monthly total to just $2 a month, plus 4 extra months completely for free, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's completely risk-free. Again, that's piavpn.com/BlameOnGeorge. Link is in the description. Thanks to PIA VPN for sponsoring this video. In 2004, McDonald's began adding more chicken-based food to their menu. To promote these new products, the fast food restaurant created a series of new commercials called Defend Your Chicken, in which customers would guard their tasty new meals. While most of the commercials were nothing out of the ordinary, one stood out and is remembered by many due to its controversy. In September of that same year, a user named Trunk made a post onto the Straight Dope message board about this commercial. There's this McDonald's commercial where someone gets close to this black lady's chicken tenders and she says, "You better don't." I'm not offended or anything, I'm just really surprised they would write that. What's next? A black guy in the commercial saying, "I be loving it"? So apparently, McDonald's aired a commercial featuring a black woman protecting her chicken with a stereotypical dialect. Many others in this thread recalled seeing the commercial, but like most online discussions, it devolved into arguments. Beyond this forum thread, mentions of the commercial
Okay.
on several other
Just
websites.
making sure my audio wasn't fucking
On
on
the
there.
ARS Technica forums that same year, one user briefly mentions the ad. I personally prefer the commercial with the black woman sitting on the airplane eating the chicken strips, and when the stewardess comes to take the box, she pulls back and says, "You better don't." A 2009 article from The Root gives us a bit more detail. In the ad, a black woman devouring McNuggets on an airplane is nearly thwarted when a white flight attendant attempts to discard her meal. As he makes his move, the flight attendant receives a swift slap on the hand and a blunt warning from the chicken fellow passenger, "You better don't." On Quora, a question for the worst McDonald's commercials of all time was asked, where a user named Sydney Cooper nominated the "You Better Don't" commercial. Unfortunately, I can't see the rest of his comments without joining Quora's subscription service, and that's just silly. Nevertheless, the search for this missing commercial wouldn't pick up until 2022, when a Reddit post on r/lostmedia reignited the mystery. You Better Don't. A strange McDonald's commercial.
I think I've seen that commercial, to be honest.
A McDonald's commercial aired sometime in 2004 promoting chicken selects, chicken strips, pitched as nuggets for adults. The premise?
Oh yeah, I remember those. Those are the fucking chicken. They're pretty much chicken tenders.
The flight attendant is collecting trash, reaches for the woman's chicken, and she responds with, "You better don't." I vividly remember seeing this commercial in my college dorm room with my roommates. For context, I'm white. My roommate is black. Whoever wrote this thing seemed to be going for a stereotypical black American dialect, but my roommates found the phrase, "You better don't," much more confusing than offensive. It was striking enough to see if anyone ever heard the phrase, "You better don't." We got one of two responses, either "No, never heard the phrase," or "Oh, Did you see that weird ass McDonald's commercial too? The OP later remarked how the ad might have been, quote, pulled shortly after airing. And a later YouTube comment also supported this idea. I know I'm late to this discussion, but I recall seeing it in 2004 while writing my dissertation. Was in the Midwest at the time, and was both confused and offended by the ad. I'm a black woman for reference. Because the ad was related to my research, I wanted to cite it in my work. However, McDonald's quickly pulled it, and there was no afterlife, as social media / YouTube did not exist. It simply vanished without a trace. I was glad to see it off the air, but also bummed that I couldn't prove that it ever existed. In late 2023, discussion of this Lost commercial was reignited on the Lost MediaWiki forums by user Button Revenge. For the past couple of days, I've been obsessed with a specific Lost ad from the early 2000s, documented in this Reddit thread. Pulled or banned media piques my curiosity in general, but this one specifically caught my eye. The reason I'm interested in this ad is not because of the racist connotations, but because of how well remembered it seems to be, despite being impossible to find online. It seems the ad was pulled less than a month into its run, and it's completely absent online, but it's still being referenced in news articles 5 years after its first airing, so it clearly generated a notable amount of controversy. As for leads, I found this ad that is likely from the same campaign.
Are you looking at my chicken? Don't mess with me. You're gonna be sorry. Don't get all snuggly in here trying to get up in my chicken selects. Did I say I was sharing? I saw that. I'm gonna put that back. Give me my chicken selects. Tell your story walking, mister. Step away from the chicken. They're not yours, they're not yours. This chicken is mine. New chicken selects. Big golden arch.
Besides that, I think the best course of action would be what one commenter on the Reddit thread suggested: to look through ad breaks from early September 2004 on adults targeted networks, Comedy Central, TV Land, etc., as McDonald's was specifically targeting adult consumers with their Chicken Select product. The thread rose in popularity, and Lost MediaWiki user Automation, who actually runs the Lost Commercials Foundation, shared a ton of tweets from people who've seen the commercial. One claims that it aired on BET, and another said it was scrubbed from the internet. Users on this thread were able to compile all Chicken Select commercials into a timeline, along with channels and air dates.
Damn.
It seems as though there are at least 8 other Chicken Select ads. There is one last thing to discuss about this mystery. When we go back to the Straight Dope message board, 2 people mentioned that the commercial was replaced by a new one. This is interesting because this commercial is somewhat similar.
The fuck?
McDonald's chicken selects and McNuggets made with white meat. Get them while they're hot.
If the You Better Don't commercial was pulled and changed, some believe this might have been version number 2. The search mainly takes place in the Lost Commercials Foundation Discord server. They have a channel solely for this mystery, and we'll just have to wait and see if anything pops up.
I think I buy a lot of fucking games.
September 12th, 2022. Lost Greenpeace PSA/PIF featuring 11 commandments and cloning. The user named Crisasaurus would post on the non-murder mystery subreddit about one of the strangest PSAs. For 20 years, I've hunted this ad, but to no avail. At this point, I am starting to doubt that it had existed. I've attempted several times, and I've tried different subs. r/chilled my tongue, r/lost media, etc. I really hope some of you remember this, or if possible, can help me to find it. But mostly,
I
I
go
wonder
through
if
my
someone told me
fucking
that they saw it.
NES games.
I am totally sure it was a Greenpeace ad. I think it was from the UK. I saw it on a TV show called Insomnia, which is about commercials from all around the world, and from different eras. It addressed the cloning scandal and its amoral facts, that I suppose it was from the 90s. In it, we'd see blood drops between veins. It looked like a lab test, blood in vitro and such, while each one of the commandments would appear on screen. Numbers for each commandment were made of liquid metal in a table of stone. With each commandment, a new drop of blood would fall. For the final commandment, I remember the face of a woman popped up. She looked like some sort of geisha. She had charged makeup, she appeared smiling. If I remember correctly, she looked kinda like this, amid clouds. Then, an 11th commandment would come up saying, "Thou shalt not clone." And the logo of Greenpeace appeared and turned red, like filled with blood. I have looked for it for years using different tags. Greenpeace 11 Commandments commercial, Greenpeace against cloning, 11 Commandments PSA, no results. The PSA dates from before 2002 without any doubts. It didn't have any voiceover, voice off, or voice of any kind. I remember some piano music, similar to Beethoven's Piano Sonata 14. This is vague. It looked British, blurry, and kind of similar to the surreal stuff that Brits would produce. If I dare to post here, it's because I've seen that some people look for this sort of stuff on this sub as well, so I'm going to give it a try, though I know it might be useless. At this point, I am looking for someone who had seen this mysterious ad and not even expecting to locate it.
God damn it. I want to make that bigger.
Some
I
background
did
information.
the
According to
fucking...
their own website, Greenpeace is a global network of independent campaigning organizations that use peaceful protests and creative confrontation to expose global environmental problems and promote solutions that are essential to a green, just, and beautiful future.
Hate spreadsheets.
Now, in 1996, scientists achieved something that had never been done before. They cloned a mammal from an adult cell. That mammal was Dolly the sheep. The process started with 3 sheep. First, scientists took a mammary cell from one sheep, the genetic donor. They then took an egg cell from a second sheep and carefully removed its DNA, leaving an empty shell. Finally, they fused the mammary cell with the empty egg, tricking it into thinking it was a freshly fertilized embryo. This embryo was then placed into the third sheep, acting as a surrogate mother. After months of development, Dolly was born, an exact genetic copy of the first sheep. Moral and ethical concerns quickly followed the Dolly experiment. Many feared that it could lead to human cloning, sparking widespread debates and panic. Religious groups, in particular, opposed the idea, seeing it as humans pretending to be God and interfering with natural reproduction. I'm unsure if Greenpeace themselves responded to the growing outcry against cloning, but it's easy to believe an ad like this would exist back in 2002, even if it wasn't made by Greenpeace. Back to the Reddit post, something that stands out is the Insomnia show that OP mentioned. Can you provide more information about the Insomnia show? Network, approximate air dates, summary, genre, etc. If we can track when it aired, we can ostensibly find the episode and confirm the commercial exists, and or contact the production company or broadcaster and see if they have any information. The Insomnia show was aired in Mexico from 2000 to 2011, I think. It featured tons of commercials of any kind, and to this day, it is regarded as a cult show in many places.
Okay.
Sadly, the show itself is also lost. Only some fragments of it survive, and the whereabouts of the producers are unknown. Here's the article on the Spanish Lost Media Wiki about the show. OP continues with more information. I recall the Greenpeace logo filled with blood, like white turning red. However, I am open that it could have been made by someone else. That day, Insomnia broadcast different disturbing PSAs. Perhaps my memories are mixed. The 11 Commandments, the blood, and the eerie, blurry atmosphere is totally certain anyways. Yes, the show had a part dedicated to PSAs only. Every episode had at least one or two somber PSA, some of them truly disturbing. This one is the only one that seems to be untraceable. The rest have been more or less located. The ad I am looking for lasted like a minute and a half. It was kinda longish. Only the 11th Commandment addressed the cloning topic. It was like the climax of the ad. In fact, the whole commercial was kinda confusing till that part. Like, where is this going to? The commandments and blood drops? I had to wait till the punchline to understand the points of the ad. User Crisisaurus would post about this missing PSA several more times on 2 different subreddits, such as Tip of My Tongue and Lost Media. Unfortunately, most of them have garnered little to no response, let alone any leads. It's totally possible that this could be a hoax, but OP has been posting about this ad on Reddit for the past 7 years. If this is merely a hoax, then holy hell. But until any information comes out, it will remain a mystery. Filipino lost media is a rabbit hole in and of itself. Seriously, the amount of missing content from just the Philippines can be a video on its own. But among the most infamous pieces of lost media from the country is the eerie Encarnacion for Chavez commercial, a flower shop ad that aired sometime in the 1990s, and has been described by those who recall it as pure nightmare fuel. Despite its popularity, no footage has been recovered, cementing it as one of the most sought-after pieces of Filipino lost media. The story begins in 2018, when users on the Spooky Advertisements Facebook group began posting about a commercial called Encarnacion for Chavez. One of the first posts was from a user named Jemanuel Cordero, who did an audio-only recreation of the ad. Other users began asking about the commercial, and sharing what details they remembered. According to the Lost Media Wiki, the Encarnacion for Chavez commercial had a dark, almost horror-like atmosphere, an ominous voiceover, and an actress whose presence felt more like something out of a ghost story than a floral promotion. From eyewitness descriptions, the ad begins with zooming camera shots revealing red roses amid a dark background. The song Shepherd Moonlights by Enya can be heard playing. A woman wearing a and hugging her mom is shown next, before cutting to 3 bouquets. It then shows a new scene of a man giving a woman a bouquet with a voiceover that says, "When you care enough to send the best, say it's with flowers from Encarnacion for Chavez." The ad then cuts to a shot of the logo, overshadowed by flowers, before finally, a woman in a dress appears on screen. The woman is smiling, her hair is disheveled, and she is holding a single rose. The camera pauses, and the scene fades into the logo once again, with the male narrator saying, "When the occasion becomes special, you can make it more special with flowers from Encarnacion for Chavez." Encarnacion for Chavez, when you want to show how much you care. The commercial then fades into the shop's logo.
Okay, I have like
which is another peculiar detail,
oh,
since most successful flower
13
shops
games so
would
far.
have had
Crawl.
more branches.
12 games so far.
Since then, the mystery has been shared to Reddit various times by many different users. One of which was Brooke said the following: "The lady that was in this commercial had absolutely wild hair, covering much of her face, although you could see her eyes, nose, and mouth. You know how witches are portrayed in movies? Ganon? The background is black, with a light behind her. She is also wearing black and holding a single red rose. Now imagine that, but then she slowly turns to look into the camera while holding a rose close to her face and giving an eerie smile. Another user added, the eye contact. It felt like she was staring directly into your soul, as if she was saying she would sacrifice you to the devil later tonight. Haha. Some believe that the unsettling nature of the commercial led it to being banned, while others suggest it simply aired late at night, making it difficult to track. It has been speculated that it aired around 1993 to 1994 on ABC 5, TV5, and RTN 9. Particularly during runs of the US game show The $1 Million Chance of a Lifetime. Around this time, the Lost Media Wiki chose this mystery as part of their On the Hunt campaign, a group effort to search for pieces of lost media. A very thorough list of sightings was compiled by members of the search team, including channels and approximate dates. A few more recreations, including visuals, were also made. Unfortunately, despite years of searching, the commercial has still remained lost. The On the Hunt channel closed down, and the search has stagnated. This topic is likely the most popular one on this list. There are simply far too many recollections for the ad to be a hoax, and the store clearly exists. As of today, no official footage of the Encarnacion Chavez commercial has been found. While there have been claims that a VHS tape of the ad exists, it remains to be seen if the tape will ever be recovered or uploaded online. This will be a quick one, but I feel like it's the most likely to be found. 2000's possible PSA, child's birthday, and can't blow out candles due to coughing. On April 17th, 2022, a Reddit user named Zephyr Mickey would make this post on the r/tip of my tongue. I vaguely remember a kind of creepy commercial, possibly on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network around the mid-2000s. I remember it focusing on a birthday cake. I want to say it's a lit 2 candle, and a family singing happy birthday. The kid, not seen, is trying to blow out the candle, but keeps coughing, and the wax is slowly melting all over the cake. I'm thinking that it's maybe about secondhand smoke, or some disease, and they won't live past 2. In case it was a local ad, this was viewed in the Northeast US. This mystery was shared by Into the Bounding Main, which some of you might remember was involved in the Demon's Carb Solution search. He also founded the Lost Commercials Foundation. I've seen this on YouTube fairly recently, but can't find it at the moment. I'm fairly certain
I'm lucky I have like some of the manuals or like some of these.
Pretty sure there was a dinosaur candle, or the cake had dinosaur icing. Into the Bounding Main tweeted an image detailing the missing PSA. In response, a user quote tweeted that they remembered seeing the ad. Holy shit, I remember this commercial vividly too. Played a lot. So much so it's surprising to hear that's lost. Also can confirm it aired on Cartoon Network. That's where I saw it. If you don't mind, what was the location? I was in Maryland at the time. Thanks. Roughly what year? Consistently around the mid to late 90s, into the 2000s. I remember it had to have lasted into the 2000s because it still played when I was in high school, and we joked about how the end with the candles melting felt like it was making fun of asthma kids. Back to the web post, another user claims to have seen the ad. Hey, I'm in the UK, and I've seen this. I think it was around 2004 to 2006. I'm in the UK. Just saw the post from the Lost Commercials Foundation on this, and wow, a blast from the past. I absolutely remember this. Do you remember anything specific? I think I saw number 2 candle, and Into the Bounding Main believes there was dinosaurs involved. I think maybe the cake was dinosaur themed. maybe a dinosaur candle. And I think there was blue in the adverts. My brain's telling me a blue cake. I remember a close-up on wax dripping off the candle at some point too. Finally, one user recalled a very similar ad, albeit there's no children, and it's animated. This isn't technically a kid, and it's far more.
I swear that commercial sounds
maybe
fucking
stars.
familiar
Have
too.
you heard of Little Lungs in a Great Big World? This advert is quite similar.
The story of a pair of lungs that smoked as
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. The Little One fucking commercial.
Lungs are gonna need a lot of air for this.
I got this. Smoking as a teen can stunt your lungs. Ow. Keeping them little forever.
Better luck next year, little lungs. In a great big world.
This ad is remarkably similar in premise, but it clearly isn't the birthday PSA that we're looking for. Later that same year, a different user named Pinkgun would inquire about a similar ad on r/PIFs and PSAs, looking for a pneumonia PSA. I remember seeing it on TV when I was a kid at my grandma's house in New York. She showed a birthday cake with 3 dinosaurs, one of which was a purple sauropod with lit candles on it. The unseen boy was trying to blow out the candles, but was wheezing and short of breath. It was about protecting your kids from pneumonia. I don't know if it was a local PSA or not. Although this ad remains lost, the fact that several people claim to have seen it gives me hope that it's out there somewhere. Until then, it'll remain a mystery. This final entry is a bit of an update from my last
I
video
swear
on
I
spooky
have
commercials,
it.
but we still have 2 more pieces of lost media to
Make
cover.
revenge.
Hate Hurts You was found by Reddit user Delchi, who came across the full ad in, quote, a collection of television history. Que Sera Sera was found by members of the Lost Commercials Foundation Discord.
Crap.
Turns out it wasn't a PSA at all, or rather a promo for the 2011 true crime series Snapped. Unfortunately, the 2 Filipino PSAs, Shabu and the fake Doomsday one, are still unconfirmed to even exist. That leaves only one, the Key to Heaven's PSA. A mysterious ad featuring a boy and his mother on a boat. When the boy turns to face his mother, she becomes a demon monster thing. The boy tries to hug his mother, but she ends up drowning him. Do not abuse children message. Well, after my video came out, y'all went to work on this video called The Number to Heaven.
Try to create like a fucking mean tower pizza. Not working out.
Posted 15 years ago in 2009 with 500,000 views. Turns out it wasn't a PSA at all, and instead was a short film by Jason Eisner for some film festival. What this discovery did prove, however, was that this wasn't the Brazilian pig demon child abuse one. For those that may now remember, a different user commented under the Key to Heaven post about a similar ad. It was assumed that they might have been talking about the same video, with just some details misremembered, but we now know that this is an entirely different lost ad. I actually saw a very similar PSA back in the late 90s. It was very, very similar, but I'm from Brazil, so I don't know if it was made by the same company / studio. The one I watched had this boy and his dad, and they're waiting on a bus station. The kid is eating a cotton candy while his dad is smoking a cigarette very close to him as they're holding hands. Then the next cut, we can see the smoke going from the cigarettes to the kid's candy cotton. The boy tries to get away, but the dad keeps pushing him. Then I vaguely remember a slow motion scene with passerbys ignoring the child's sorrowful look as they walk by the bus station. He also tries to scream, but he has no voice. And for that, no one can hear him asking for help. After that, the camera shows them standing on the bus station, just like the beginning. But the dad has turned into this very weird pig-like human devil creature. And the boy didn't seem to be scared at all, just very bothered and sad. I remember his dad's skin had turned red, and the head was like the head of a warthog, but his body still human. Then it cuts to a black screen with text saying, "Don't abuse children." Then the text changed to, "If they don't have a voice, speak for them. Report child abuse." It was very bizarre, and it's still haunting me to this day. I saw it in elementary school twice, but never saw it again. I don't know if this has anything to do with the one you're searching for, but it has these very similar elements. Maybe finding one will lead us to the other. This comment caught the attention of the Lost Commercials Foundation, who began to conduct a search. 2 other Reddit users who are believed to have seen this ad were from Rio de Janeiro. A Brazilian user contacted the Lost Commercials Foundation and claimed that their mom saw the ad on TV Cultura after 9 p.m. Unfortunately, even after my first video, the ad remains lost. There is one last update from Into the Bounding Main. I have received further information that the same campaign, or at least a very similar one, was ongoing in the mid-2000s. There were PSAs featuring monsters on a number of topics other than child abuse, including safe driving and anti-smoking. Somebody close to the OP claims to have been working at a daycare center between 2005 and 2008, during which time they watched afternoon educational programming with the children. These commercials likely appeared on Futura, TV Cultura, and possibly Bandeirantes, though the former 2 are apparently more closely associated with educational content. This witness also remembers a PSA similar to the one in the original comments, in which you can see the shadow of the adult turning into a monster holding the child's hand. It was also set at a bus stop, and the message at the end was, "Child abuse is a crime." In the meantime, I have been in contact with a Brazilian TV historian named Fabio Marcanzini. Unfortunately, he doesn't recognize his PSA, but has retweeted a link to this thread and said he will ask fellow archivists if they know anything more. And originally that's all I had for this video, but as I was checking my Scary PSAs video for this update, I discovered another lost PSA from my own comments section. I was in a 1987 child abuse PSA. It was produced by WGBH, and it aired during an episode of Nova. This is extremely unusual because WGBH is a PBS affiliate, which doesn't air commercials. The PSA showed a young child crying. The toddler was played by me. Then it cuts to a punching bag being hit. Then it cuts back to an image of me with a bloody nose and a black eye. It ends with a black screen with the WGBH logo and the Massachusetts Department of Children. There was a short
I got like a bunch of
without the WGBH logo. I remember seeing it as late as 1996. I can't find a single mention of the PSA anywhere. Edits. From reports and the replies, it seems to have aired on the East Coast. Edit 2. I think I have a lead. I was looking at the Paley Center for Media's archive. They have a full, uncut version of Nova, Why Do Planes Crash? This episode aired on February 2nd, 1987, which lines up perfectly with the time the PSA began airing. I'm going to go to New York City when I get the time, so this search might be over after 20 years of searching. Edit 3. The Paley Center for Media only archives the episodes without any bumpers or PSAs. That's it. I give up. You can stop replying now. It'll just have to stay lost forever. Thanks again to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video. Use my link and grab an 83% discount on Private Internet Access. That's just $2 a month, and you also get 4 extra months completely for free. This video is brought to you by AG1. Now, if you're like me, you have an annoying habit of buying all these supplements and vitamins in the pursuit of being healthier, but they can collectively be. This video is brought to you by PIA.
Yeah, that probably. Um. Okay. I can find like another video to listen to in the fucking background. Um. Fuck. Your Toriyama. Rest in peace.
On November 26, 2002, the world of video games was rocked by the announcement of a merger between two industry giants, Square and Enix. While imagination soared at the possibility of what these two companies could come up with as one entity, a collaboration of sorts had already happened 8 years earlier. In 1995, the best minds behind Enix's Dragon Quest and Square's Final Fantasy joined up to form the RPG Dream Team and released one of the best games of the genre that is still cherished 30 years later. Stay here for the story.
Good game. Chrono Trigger is a freaking good game. Oh yeah, I love that fucking music too. The fucking opening with the bell.
On March 11th,
With the croc.
1995, Chrono Trigger was released for the Super Famicom in Japan, a game that for almost a decade prior was on everyone's wish lists, even if you didn't think about it because you didn't expect it to ever be possible. Chrono Trigger was a collaboration of the biggest names in the Japanese role-playing game genre: Yuji Horii, Hironobu Sakaguchi, and Akira Toriyama. Many other influential names were part of the project, but these three names alone were jaw-dropping when the first announcements of the game were made, namely because the staff were from two different companies, and rivals at that. All of the elements that led to Chrono Trigger began to form about
Yeah, it's actually amazing. Like, Chrono Trigger even.
Working under publisher Enix brought the PC-88 game, The Port Pier Serial Murder Case, to the Nintendo family computer. The game sold moderately well, starting a trend of slower-paced games that involved deep strategy with heavy doses of dialogue, a departure from the faster action games that defined the early days of the family computer. That success inspired Horii to move further in this direction, developing a family computer game similar to role-playing games like Ultima and Wizardry, Dragon Quest. First released on May 27, 1986. The game was a simplified version of sword and sorcery games that had existed in the PC space for some time. A menu of simple commands removed the need for a keyboard, while interactions with characters in towns drove the story. To make Dragon Quest a fuller experience and bring name value to the project, two outsiders were drafted. Famed composer Koichi Sugiyama would score the game. His previous work in movies and TV, including Gatchaman and Cyborg 009, were well known among the key age group that loved video games. Manga artist Akira Toriyama signed on as a graphic designer. His most recent work, Dragon Ball, was an extremely popular manga series, with a respective anime debuting a few months before Dragon Quest. Through Dragon Ball and prior works, Toriyama had crafted a trademark style, one that fit well into the world of video games. Dragon Quest would become the first RPG experience for many, and set the template for what every game of the genre would be afterwards. The success of Dragon Quest set off...
I thought I had more fucking... I thought I had...
1987, trying to cash in on the success NX had. Out of the many entries that came...
I thought I had in there fucking... I thought I had Double Dragon 2.
Stood out as an ambitious game, one that sold close to 500,000 copies. The team at Square was led by Hironobu Sakaguchi, and a close staff of designers, composers, and programmers who built Final Fantasy into a respectable franchise, with new entries year after year. Square would wind up as the #2 RPG maker in Japan, behind NX. Most role-playing game fans had both DQ and FF, as well as games made by others. The excitement of the times led to debates, comparisons, and blue sky dreaming. When asking which series was better, or if Square could ever take the lead, there was always one question. What if Dragon Quest mixed it up with Final Fantasy? What would it be like? Who would make the decisions? Who would lead the project? Which company would publish the game? What would it look like, sound like, play like? And on and on.
I had Double Dragon 2.
What fans at home didn't know was that the answer would be here sooner than we all thought.
Sorry, I'm double checking my games.
By the 90s, a clear rivalry had formed with Team Dragon Quest on one side and Team Final Fantasy on the other. Within the industry itself, the competition was fierce, but there was a mutual respect among those who made the game. As such, Yuji Horii and Hironobu Sakaguchi would cross paths from time to time and become friends. In the fall of 1992, members of both the Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy teams had traveled to America for seminars and workshops on the next generation of graphic design. While there, Horii, Sakaguchi, and Akira Toriyama discussed the possibilities of a collaboration, a Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy crossover, combining the best talent from each series, creating, perhaps, the ultimate game, and giving the fans something they had always dreamed of, but never thought possible. What allowed for this theoretical arrangement were the stark differences in the corporate and managerial structures of NX and Square. The number of proper employees NX had was very small. The company outsourced their work to independent contractors in nearly every case. This kept NX running lean, without the expensive overhead of salaried employees or large offices. Those who were contracted by NX liked this arrangement, as it allowed for programmers to bid individually on work, rather than accept a monthly salary, as well as to freely seek out other jobs somewhere else after each contract. Yuji Horii, the man who created Dragon Quest and stood at the helm of each entry, was an independent contractor, not an employee of NX. He had founded his own company, Armor Project, in 1985, which holds all the rights to Dragon Quest. The first game, as well as most NX games from those early days, were programmed by...
Did not know that he owns
NX with little work to do other than manufacture cartridges, ship them out, then promote the games, all of which was also outsourced. Square ran their operations in a more traditional manner. Their game creators were permanent employees, and the most successful ones, Hironobu Sakaguchi included, eventually earned executive positions. Everything at Square was done in-house. Close relationships were forged amongst the staff. The core Final Fantasy team remained virtually unchanged in the early days, while fostering the next generation to take the reins in the future. This difference in arrangements meant that anyone from the NX side could work with the Square side at any time, without any contractual dispute. By the time the idea was being tossed around in October 1992, Final Fantasy had expanded to 4 games, with one on the way, and 2 spin-offs, Saga and Mana, which carried the Final Fantasy name in the US. Sakaguchi held the title of Executive Vice President of Square, and had the authority to commission projects that he could also lead the production of. All of it led to a simple contract for Yuji Horii and Akira Toriyama to sign, and the project was born. From the onset, a few ground rules were laid down. First, the game would officially be a Square production. The members from Enix would be treated as equal partners, each carrying their own share. The project would be kept secret until the game was almost complete, as news of this collaboration would have driven the media and fans crazy. And
True, because that was like
immediately backed up
two major fucking companies, the two major RPG companies at the time, merging, not merging, but making a game together.
Had ever done before. While these men were researching in America, a new phrase had entered the American lexicon, the Dream Team, in reference to the 1992 U.S. men's Olympic basketball team, which featured NBA players for the first time. Sakaguchi et al. Liked the name so much, they fashioned it for themselves. The RPG Dream Team. While these initial rules were set in stone, the ideas that led to the final version of Chrono Trigger were in constant flux. It took months to get the project off the ground, while those other famous Square games of 1993 and 94 were concurrently being developed. In early 1993, Kazuhiko Aoki, a designer from Final Fantasy III, took on the role of producer. Yuji Horii was the head writer, creating all scenarios. Hironobu Sakaguchi was credited as designer, while Akira Toriyama was the lead artist, putting his mark on landscapes and miniatures profiles. Takashi Tokuta and Yoshinori Kitsu directed the game, having worked on Final Fantasy IV and VI, respectively. Nobuo Uematsu would contribute a few songs to the soundtrack, though work was divided between him and Yasunori Mitsuda, whom Uematsu would mentor. Mitsuda would become well known in his own right years later. Each member of the Dream Team had their own duties, assisted by younger Square staff, who would go on to become well-known names in the future. Over 50 people were involved in the group, referred to as Dream Project. Keeping with the groundwork of imitating Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger was suggested as an installment of the Mana series. At the time, Secret of Mana was nearing completion, and a game that followed in that style, possibly a sequel, was considered. For a time, the game was intended for the Super Famicom CD-ROM. With Akira Toriyama's trademark art style, animation would have been a key highlight. But the future of a Nintendo CD was never certain, and in the end, never came to pass. With important decisions like this needed to be determined from the start, the idea of a CD-ROM was abandoned in favor of a 24 megabit cartridge. The game went through several revisions, with ideas coming and going, including segments of the game completely discarded, then starting over, all in the name of crafting the perfect game. What survived were a few familiar ideas. A 3-player party similar to Secret of Mana and Dragon Quest V. The active time battle system, seen in many Square games since 1991, and a graphical style echoing Final Fantasy VI. Similar lighting, shading, and tones can be seen throughout, giving a comfortable sense of familiarity to Square fans. There were, however, many new elements that changed the vision of delivering the game that would be a wholly new experience. The story would involve time travel. The main character, Chrono, would travel to the past and future throughout the quest. The overhead map would change between eras, but still be the same world. Events in the past would alter the future, and lead to different outcomes, with multiple endings. There would be a robust cast of characters, but only 7 that are playable, most of them hailing from different eras in time, all joining together to save the world, as the story unfolds. With each character, interactions with townspeople can be different, thanks to something known as active time event logic. This system creates conversations that feel more realistic than the usual one-line messages from characters met along the way. The party itself is also customizable after a certain point. This adds to a less linear style of game. Different character combinations may work better than others. Each of the 3 members can also align for combined attacks, with 15 triple attacks in correct combination. Gameplay elements were implemented to keep the game's pace moving forward, avoiding the pitfalls nearly every RPG falls into. There would be no random battles. Enemies appear on screen, and the battle only begins when engaging them. Some battles are story-related and therefore inescapable, but the lack of random battles allows for more free exploration and lets the game move along at the player's chosen pace. Each leg of the quest is divided up like chapters of a book. That had been done before, but with 32 stages to the game, each step has a clear and focused objective that must be met before moving on to the next one. There are options to go off to the side and explore whatever you'd like, but nothing in the game requires you to walk halfway across the world just to pick something up and bring it back for the sake of filling up time in the game. Each of the chapters in the game is remarked on the save file to show you how far you've come from the start. A nice detail. At a certain point in the game, Chrono and company can reach the end of time, a safe zone that acts as a hub for the party, a place to heal, save, and regroup. At certain stages of the game, hints about what to do next can be learned here as well, in an effort to keep players from getting stuck or having to buy a strategy guide. After the main quest is completed, the game can still continue with a feature called New Game Plus, where items and status can carry over to a new game, which helps you get through every line of text and experience every ending. While not exactly a new feature, Chrono Trigger contains several mini-games. Most of these are short, quick-time events that offer items. A full racing game featuring Mode 7 graphics is playable while visiting the future, a fun and graphically impressive way to spend some time away from the main quest. The entire process from a vague idea to final product took 2.5 years. About 6 months before release day, when things were looking close to finish, Square made an appearance at V-Jump Magazine's 1994 V-Festival. Members of Dream Project took the stage to reveal their hard work for the first time. Hironobu Sakaguchi explained how the Dream Team came together, as well as each person's role and how the last 2 years in development had gone, while Yuji Horii added his own personal anecdotes. The scene was unthinkable. News of the crossover soon spread across Japan and the world. In Japan, Chrono Trigger soon appeared in Famitsu Magazine's Most Wanted charts, where it and Dragon Quest VI often occupied the top 2 spots. After V-Fest 94, there was still much work to do, including one major change made after the initial announcement. The cartridge size was increased from 24 megabits to 32. At the time, the largest RPG ever. The game also had one of the heaviest price tags, 11,400 yen, just over $130 at the time. Would all that hard work?
People bitching about $8 Switch games.
On March 11, 1995, everyone would find out. The day Chrono Trigger, the dream game featuring the creators of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, would come home. In the present day, the year 1000 has begun. In the Kingdom of Guardia, celebrations are being held in a grand event, the Millennium Fair. During the festivities, a young boy, Chrono, becomes friends with Marl, a village girl he's never seen before today. Together, they go to visit Chrono's friend, Luca, who is demonstrating her newest invention, a teleportation device. When Marl volunteers to use the telepod, things go awry. Her pendant glows, and somehow, she's sent backwards through time. Chrono takes the pendant and goes back to the past. Marl and Chrono have landed in the year 600, where Marl is mistaken for Lean, the reigning queen of this era. The real queen has vanished, with no explanation. As for Marl taking her place, there must be a family resemblance. Marl is actually Princess Nadia of the royal family in the present day, and therefore a descendant of Lean. In trying to determine the whereabouts of Lean, Chrono and his friends cross paths with Frog, a talking amphibian who was once human but is now cursed to animal form. Together, they discover, then rescue, the missing queen. All the while, Luca has been tinkering with a device that will open the gates of time where holes in the continuum exist. The Gate Key. When the past is set back on the right track, everyone heads back home. It's not a happy homecoming. Chrono is arrested for kidnapping Marl, who was the princess all along. At the trial, evidence is used against Chrono and he is sentenced to be executed. Truly innocent, or at least that he had honest intentions, Chrono knows the trial was bogus and plots an escape. Luca and Marl join in to help him. However, being found guilty of treason, the only way out is through time once again. The three arrive in the far-off future. the year 2300. The world has changed a lot, clearly falling into a dark age. Initially, Chrono doesn't know why. Through exploration of the area, he encounters advanced technology, computers, jet bikes, and genetically modified creatures, as well as the catalyst that made the world in this era the way it is. The world as they knew it was destroyed by an entity known as Lavos in the year 1999. Luca discovers a way back home in a place called the Protodome, where she discovers a broken robot, R66Y, whom she repairs and is renamed Robo by Chrono. Once operational again, Robo takes everyone to the nearest time gate. Before leaving, other robots of the same build as Robo tell him he is defective for aiding humans and is destroyed. Luca is able to rebuild him once again, and with no reason to stay in 2300, Robo joins Chrono for the journey back. The time gate takes everyone to the end of time, a place where time and space meet, a place that exists outside of the continuum. With this discovery, Chrono will always have a place for his friends and him to escape and stay safe if things ever went wrong. Back in the present, things are not as expected. Hopping around through time is causing major problems. The eastern part of the world is now overrun with monsters, known as mystics. This came as a result of Magus, someone from a different time, summoning Lavos to destroy the world in the year 600, centuries before it originally happened. In this version of the present, everything is different. Chrono and his friends hardly recognize the place. They come across Melchior, who in the correct timeline had met Chrono in the present day just before his adventure began. To reach the year 600, the three must head back to where the Millennial Fair was held. Along the way, it appears that each version of the
Damn, I got like a
time
shitload
have still
of
happened,
games.
as evidenced by Chrono's mom worrying about all the trouble he has been making. Arriving in 600, Chrono discovers that the king has been injured in battle, and while in recovery, speaks of a legendary hero who has arrived to defeat Magus. The hero's name is Tata. He crosses paths with Chrono while both are searching for the Masamune sword, the only weapon powerful enough to stop Magus. It turns out that Tata is regarded as the legendary hero because he wears a Medal of Bravery, which, in reality, belongs to Frog, who left it behind at a cafe. Chrono and friends receive the Masamune sword, but only the blade, while Frog is in possession of the hilt. The sword can be repaired, but doing so requires the rare red rock. With none in easy supply in Frog's time, the team heads all the way back to 65 million BC. In that prehistory, the world is populated by talking lizards called reptites. One human, Isla, befriends Chrono and provides the red rock, but nobody can return back because the gate key has been stolen by the reptites. One thing the future doesn't need is another invasion. The key is being held by Azala, who sends forth the strongman Nizbel to send Chrono packing. The fight doesn't go the way Azala planned, and just the display of power from Chrono forces Azala to give up the key. The Masamune sword is as good as new, giving Frog a huge upgrade. Now the three heroes can face off against Magus, who in the year 600 is now attempting to summon Lavos. Even with the Masamune, the battle to stop Magus is very intense. Lavos' arrival creates a time gate that sends everyone back to 65 million BC once more. Magus is nowhere to be found. There are more urgent matters as Lavos makes his arrival. After a discussion with Isla, Chrono and company realize that Lavos might just be the asteroid that crashed to Earth and ended the age of the dinosaurs. The impact made by Lavos opens a new time gate. 12,000 BC, the Dark Ages, is on the other side. In this era, magic exists, with those who can wield it known as the Enlightened Ones, who live on a floating kingdom in the sky. These people tell Chrono of the Mammon machine, which is being used by Queen Zeal to summon Lavos. Also, Marl's pendant once belonged to Zeal's daughter, Shala, and can gain power from the Mammon machine. Eventually, Zeal captures Chrono and sentences him to death, only to be sprung free by Shala, who knows her mother has been consumed by evil. Upon leaving the Dark Ages, the time gate to this age is sealed. And the only way back is to return to 65 million BC and then to 2300, where a fully working time machine, the Epic, is discovered. Back in the Dark Ages, Chrono meets the Earthbound Ones, those who live on the surface. Here it's discovered that Melchior, who Chrono knew from his own time, is the guru of life, one of 3 men who are stationed across time, and the inventor of the Mammon machine. Realizing his creation is too dangerous, Melchior entrusts Chrono with the ruby knife, the only tool that can dismantle it. When Chrono finds the Mammon machine, he uses the ruby knife, only to come face to face with Lavos. Everyone hangs on to his knife when Magus reveals himself, only to find out that he too is quickly overpowered. Chrono musters up enough strength for one more attack, but it does no good. Chrono is atomized. No trace of him is left behind. The battle forces the floating kingdom to crash into the ground, causing a cataclysmic tidal wave that forever reshapes the world. Traveling back to the end of time, the survivors meet with Gaspar, secretly the Guru of Time, who hands them the Chrono Trigger, a magical egg that can bring someone back from the dead. Only Balthasar, the Guru of Reason, knows how to use it. The final hope in bringing Chrono back to life, to stop Lavos, and to bring history back to its correct track. Depending on your actions, the past, present, and future can change. But there is one definitive bad ending, causing the world to come to an end because the future refused to change. And one definitive good ending, where the timeline is corrected and everything is back to what it was, which is the only way it should ever be. On the day Chrono Trigger went on sale, March 11th, 1995, the mood in the gaming world was at a fevered pitch. Great role-playing games had been coming left and right, but that was only one part of a larger scene, where the best games of all genres arrived in large numbers, coinciding with the end of the 16-bit era and the dawn of the next generation. A time looked back on today as the apex of 2D game design, perhaps the greatest era of video games ever. Now, the greatest minds behind Japan's 2 biggest series have come together for a once-in-a-lifetime collaboration. There's truly no way to properly explain the excitement. You just had to be there. At a price of 11,400 yen, Chrono Trigger was one of the most expensive home video games ever, though very few winced at the cost of entry to play the dream game. The first week of sales led to record numbers. The sales rankings Famitsu used in the 90s were not national totals, but a cross-section of 19 retailers across Japan. Just these shops that were surveyed sold almost 200,000 copies in just 2 days. The game immediately debuted at number 1 on the game charts, staying on top for 3 weeks. In March 1995, Famitsu magazine issued a cross-review score of 34 out of 40 for Chrono Trigger. The reviewer said that with such fast-moving battle scenes, Chrono Trigger could be mistaken for an action RPG, with plenty of events that keep the game from getting boring, though it gets very difficult in the second half. The game immediately gives off the impression of being fun, but with the story and in-game mechanics, the mood shifts to a game that is also interesting. And the entire story is reminiscent of Back to the Future. And despite that, Chrono isn't pedantic. Famitsu continued to cover Chrono Trigger in March and April 1995, offering detailed maps, hints, and strategies. The Dream game stayed in the top 30 for several months, dropping out after July 24, eventually selling over 2 million copies in Japan. Chrono Trigger was on sale in the US in August 1995. In the Nintendo sphere, the next generation is delayed, now coming over a year after Sega and Sony. Much of Nintendo's marketing in 1995 focused on the here and now, letting 16-bit games shine, leaving next-gen to the future. Chrono Trigger landed in the middle of several games that pushed the Super NES to the limit. Yoshi's Island, Diddy's Kong Quest, Killer Instinct, and Doom were just a handful of the many games released in the second half of 1995, leading to fierce competition at retail then, and an amazing best-of list in retrospect. The American game media came out in full force with positive reviews across the board. Electronic Gaming Monthly issued a score of 37 out of 40 in its August 1995 issue, the highest rating for any game since Donkey Kong Country the year before. The EGM review crew called Chrono Trigger a thrill to play, with superb graphics, gripping plot, and an excellent engine, beating Final Fantasy III in both graphics and music. That it was the RPG fans don't need to be told is a must-have, but those who don't dig the genre should still give it a try. GamePro gave a perfect score in its September '95 issue. The Pro Review praised the replay value of the new Game Plus system, multiple endings, and interchangeable characters, touching on key events while offering pro tips. GamePro said Chrono Trigger has great humor that runs from the obvious to the sublime, with innovative
24
endings,
freaking games,
impressive spells, and gorgeous, luscious actions. These outlets had a fair share of
114
readers in their readership and editorial ranks, but it was Nintendo Power that gave Chrono Trigger the biggest push, offering extensive detailed coverage in the summer and fall of 1995, including full character profiles, strategies, and full-size posters. The coverage commenced with an official player's guide, much like in the style that had been done recently for Final Fantasy III, and a mainstay for many games Nintendo developed themselves. Chrono Trigger sold over 300,000 copies in 1995, slightly less than Final Fantasy III, though still a huge number for a genre that was often dismissed as unpopular. The game also won multiple Best Ofs, including Best Music, Best RPG, and Best Super NES Game Awards from EGM, and 6 of them from Nintendo Power, the most of any game that year, including Best Story, Best Ending, and the big one, the Best Game of 1995. Back in Japan, the Dream game continued on, thanks to a new innovative system released not long after the original game, Satellaview. This Super Famicom add-on allowed for downloadable games delivered via satellite. Through Satellaview, the entire soundtrack could be played, along with a few unused tracks, alongside a character guide and bestiary that gave detailed stats of many things encountered in the game. The Jetbike minigame is now its own separate outing in Jetbike Special. The final expansion came in February 1996, Radical Dreamers, a full-sized text adventure. The game features 3 youths, Sergei, Kid, and Magil, who end up entangling themselves in the backstory of Chrono Trigger, searching for the Frozen Flame and Time Egg. Much like the source material, Radical Dreamers incorporates the new Game Plus system.
See, so I got like 114.
The first run-through. At the 1996 V-Jump Festival, fans were surprised and impressed by a short Chrono Trigger anime OVA. Time and Space Adventures, New Mamonja, takes place in the year 1000, the night before the Millennial Fair. 2 monsters, New and Mamo.
I have 124 freaking NES games.
When nobody joins, they crash the fair. The anime is lighthearted and comical, giving just enough of a window into the part of the world of Chrono Trigger we didn't get to see in the game.
Fucking homebrew, free, Repo, what do you really call it? Home, bootlegs, Repo, bootlegs, and 2 Famicom games.
Which appeared in V-Jump magazine, with all strips published as a standalone book in 1998. After the Dream project ended, those involved from Square and Enix went back to their usual roles. Though there were many great games from both, Final Fantasy VII was far and away the most popular and newsworthy. One reason stems from the highly publicized divorce between Square and Nintendo, leading Square to release their games solely on the Sony PlayStation afterwards. With an amazing back catalog, Square went back and reissued older titles on the PlayStation. Chrono Trigger was included among these, arriving on November 2nd, 1999. Having the game on CD-ROM allowed for fully animated opening and ending scenes, directed by Akira Toriyama. Chrono Trigger on the PlayStation was brought to the US, along with Final Fantasy IV, and sold as Final Fantasy Chronicles in 2001. Chrono Trigger for the PlayStation in Japan was positioned to be Chrono Cross, debuting on November 18, 1999. The story does not follow Chrono and his friends, instead focusing on Sergei and Kid from Radical Dreamers. Instead of time travel, Chrono Cross dwells on the concepts of multiple dimensions. The world of Chrono Cross is therefore the same as Chrono Trigger, just kind of on a different plane. Chrono Cross was updated for modern hardware in 2022, with Radical Dreamers included. Following Chrono Cross, the Dream game lay dormant for several years, until being brought back for the Nintendo DS in 2008. While the core game is the same, there are many enhancements that make the DS version very enjoyable. All on-screen menus were relocated to the lower screen, giving more room for the playfield on the top screen, allowing for more graphical detail. The lower screen also serves as an explorable map, Character speed can be set to run by default. There are new dungeons with much to explore and a new ending to unlock. Touch controls are now a feature, or you can stick to the original control scheme. In April 2003, Enix and Square formally entered into a corporate merger, with one company, Square Enix, existing thereafter, which still operates today. While nothing like Chrono Trigger ever came from Square Enix, some, but not all members of the Dream Team, reunited about a decade later for a new game series, Blue Dragon.
I actually had that game.
Sakaguchi had
You
parted
probably
ways with
sometime.
Square Enix not too long after the merger, forming his own company, Mistwalker Studios. Akira Toriyama designed the characters and locations of the game, with Sakaguchi directing and Nobuo Uematsu composing. Blue Dragon was released for the Xbox 360 in 2006. The game features mechanics and gameplay that hark back to the good old days of RPGs, with turn-based battles and an overworld dungeon town setting, a contrast to open-world games without a need to level grind that had become more common in the 21st century. Blue Dragon sold over 200,000 copies in Japan, becoming the best-selling Xbox 360 game in the land of the rising sun. 2 sequels followed on the Nintendo DS in 2008 and 2009. Today, Hironobu Sakaguchi continues to produce games through Mistwalker Studios. Prominent titles include The Last Story and Fantasian.
Oh, that's another one I need to play.
Hori is still producing Dragon Quest, which is now up to its 12th installment, not to mention a slate of related spin-offs, including Theater Rhythm and Dragon Quest Builders. Akira Toriyama created dozens of manga series for Jump, and produced several Dragon Ball TV series and films, which stand as his best-known work. He passed away on March 1st, 2024, at the age of 68. He is missed by all, and will never be forgotten.
No.
In 2019, Famitsu magazine conducted a survey on the best games of the Heisei era, 1989 to 2019. Chrono Trigger was ranked number 1. It makes sense in a way. You take the best minds from the most popular games, put them together to make a new adventure, and release that at the apex of one of the most beloved game machines in Japan, at a time when games from there were the gold standard, which then also coincided with our collective formative years, and, well, what else could you expect? But all I really said in that sentence were buzzwords, hype. It doesn't really mean anything, except that the hype of Chrono Trigger fully delivered. The game was great. And for the most cartridge form in the world at the time, the size and scope of the game was massive and unmatched. Not to mention that it was just fun. There was just something special about that time and place that gave Chrono Trigger that certain feeling. One that's difficult to verbalize, but can be felt.
I'm 17 or 20 games.
One ranking solid reasoning.
Damn.
The Dream game truly was a once-in-a-lifetime collaboration. Sure, some members of Dream Project worked together afterwards, and the company itself today is Square and Enix put together. They could cross over any time, as much as they want, but
I don't think they do make like actual remaster to Chrono Trigger sometime.
2, 3, 4, or 5. But they have.
That was a good video. Sorry I didn't talk really much. But just fucking naturally go through my shit, so. Okay. Game. You have. I do. I probably said wrong. I don't fucking care. An edit super rich anyways. Great. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream here for this morning. Damn, how long was I streaming for? About 3 hours almost. Just chilling, I guess. Yeah, boring. I know it was a boring stream, but yeah. At least I actually went through my fucking games, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. Like always, if you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter. Thanks for everyone that stopped by. I hope you all have a nice morning, and I'll see you later. Peace.